a special guest, the congressional candidate on the Republican side for the 7th District, Mr. Brian Rooney. Brian, thanks for coming.
It's my pleasure to be here in Battle Creek.
So we welcome you here in Battle Creek. But before we get to a lot of the things in the campaign, which is going to be an exciting campaign season, can you tell us a little bit about how you got to this point where you decided to run for Congress?
Sure. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. My grandfather was Art Rooney, who founded the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I lived there until I was about 13, and I moved to Pennsylvania. Met my wife in high school, and we were high school sweethearts. Went to college in Western Massachusetts, Williams College, played football there, and then went to law school at Florida State Law School and joined the Marine Corps while I was in law school.
Now, let's stop right there. What made you decide you're studying law? What drew you back to the Marine Corps?
You know, I think I was around 25 at the time, and I kind of was thinking about what lies ahead, and I think I saw one of those things, you know, when you get older, you don't want to say I shoulda, coulda, woulda kind of thing, and so I wanted to test myself, and I'd been an athlete my whole life, and my football career was over, so I also knew that this was probably getting to the point where I better do something now or I'd be too old. And I always wanted to give back to my country because my country has given my family so much. I mean, I'm the product of the American dream. My great-grandfather came here, and he was a coal miner and then opened an Irish pub in Pittsburgh. And then my other grandfather was a Polish-American who was a prison guard in Pittsburgh and police beat cop for about 50 years. So, you know, from that, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now I'm running for Congress. So the Marine Corps was a way for me to, you know, show my gratitude to the country, and I also wanted to test myself, and I did test myself.
Yeah, you did get tested because you ended up in the Middle East. Yeah,
I spent about 8.5 years active duty Marine. I got out as a captain. I'm still actually in the reserves as a major, and I spent most of my time as an attorney. I did defense and a lot of my time as a prosecutor, doing all kinds of cases that you can imagine, from a capital case, you know, to military-specific case like missing of ship movement. Then I was sent to Iraq between 2004 and 2005. I went over with the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing and taught pilots rules of engagement, targeting issues. I helped investigate every time we had an aircraft go down, and I'd go out in mortuary affairs and all that. I got sent down to Najaf during the Battle of Najaf with the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit. I helped rebuild the city. I was in civil affairs there, and then I guess I did, you know, a pretty good job there. The 1st Marine Division asked for me to come up to Fallujah during a little fight we had called the Second Battle of Fallujah, which was the second biggest battle. Well, no, it was the biggest battle the Marine Corps fought since Way City in Vietnam.
Wow.
We had about 30,000 refugees north of the city that the commanding general wanted me to help repopulate the city after the fighting was over. So I went in there while the fighting was going on. I set up a humanitarian assistance site, and then we were able to bring everybody in. Nobody got killed, so that was my main objective, and we did a good job with that.
So that was pre-surge in Iraq?
That was pre-surge. You know, really, that was probably the first real surge. That was where, you know, we had the 4 contractors, American contractors. 2 of them were Navy SEALs that were brutally murdered, burned, and hung from a bridge. In fact, 3 Navy SEALs that captured the guy that did it were just recently acquitted by court-martials for allegedly punching the guy in the mouth. It's one of the things I want to go to Congress to make sure never happens again, that the men and women that do such an incredible job, like SEALs, Marines, whoever, never have to face a court-martial for doing their job and doing it well. So I did that, and when I came back from Iraq, we had our first child at the Naval Station Balboa Hospital, and my priorities changed, and Mount Soledad Cross, which is a war memorial in San Diego, brought me to Michigan. And it was because, one, the ACLU was trying to tear down this war memorial that had been there since 1913, and I wanted to practice constitutional law. That's what I really enjoyed in law school. And I didn't know there were conservative constitutional law firms out there. I knew the ACLU was out there, but I didn't want to work for them. And so I sent a resume to Tom Monahan and Dick Thompson from the Thomas More Law Center, and they flew me and my wife out to Michigan, and we loved it. Of course, it was July, and it was beautiful. But no, we did love it. So we moved our family from active duty San Diego to Michigan. And it's funny but sad that the moving company told us we were the only family moving that way. I want to make it so that more families move into Michigan or stay in Michigan or come back to Michigan. It's such a sad testament to the state of affairs we have here that so many families are moving out of the state. And I want to be part of putting a stop to that.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I think that might be kind of leads to my next question. So you're hanging out in Michigan, practicing constitutional law, doing some important work. You've already served our country as a Marine in the Middle East and for 8.5 years. So what factors then went through your mind as you contemplated running for Congress? Because it's a tough job.
Yeah, I can tell you when I moved to Michigan, it wasn't in the forefront of my head to say this is going to be where we live the rest of our lives. You know, we moved here for a job, and that job was something that I loved doing. I was constitutional law, free speech, First Amendment rights, religious liberty. We were defending guys like Lieutenant Colonel Chisani, who was wrongly accused for covering up a massacre that never occurred in Haditha, Iraq, by Congressman John Murtha.
Right.
And we were able to exonerate him and help exonerate the other Marines that were involved in that true battle. So my boss, Dick, at the time was telling me that he was thinking about moving me to Florida to open an office down in Ave Maria, where Tom Monahan's moved his university and everything like that. And my wife's family's down there. My parents are snowbirds, so we were thinking about it. And I had a daughter that was born here, and then we were pregnant with our third child. And that child was diagnosed at our 20-week ultrasound, was supposed to be the happy ultrasound, with a congenital heart defect.
Wow.
So that changed our lives. So any notion of moving or whatever stopped. And we were told that our son, would have maybe one surgery, maybe more. We were told that you can either terminate his life, have hospice care, or try to save his life at the University of Michigan. So we went to the University of Michigan, and they saved his life. It took, over 3 months to do it. 2 open heart surgeries, 2 brain surgeries, and a stomach surgery. He had a cardiac arrest and uncontrollable seizures. It was horrible. Much more difficult than war, and I lost some good friends in war. But you don't ever plan for your own child, especially a premature baby that's big, who they have to operate on his heart, who's the size of a walnut.
Right.
It was horrible, and it's very humbling. And through that whole process, and as Blaze, my son, got better, and he's doing very well now, we were really taken care of by the Michigan community. My friends, neighbors, business associates came, helped watch our other 2 children, our 3 dogs. We have 2 black labs and a mutt, and mowed my lawn, brought us dinner. When you're living at the hospital, it's tough.
Sure.
My boss let me work from the hospital. Those are the values that I grew up with in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is similar to Michigan in that way, although I'd say Michiganders are a little nicer. And that's how I wanted to raise my kids. And Florida is nice and it's great. That's why a lot of people move there. But I thought that I want my children to be raised with Michigander values, and 2 of them are Michiganders. And selfishly, when I was thinking through it, if we are going to stay in Michigan, and we are, they go to schools in Michigan, Hillsdale, Michigan State, University of Michigan, wherever, I want them to stay here after they graduate, because I want my family to be around me, and they need to have jobs for that to happen. So that was, the main, thought process. And then really the tipping point was Congressman Mark Schauer, deciding in the August recess last summer not to have any open town hall meetings. I thought that showed the arrogance that was going on in D.C., really contempt for us as constituents. And I believe that, as a congressman, even if you make up your mind, you have the duty to either stand and deliver or stand and receive. And for him to have a hard time even picking up a phone receiver because he had these phone town halls, which I really thought were bogus, I thought was, again, contemptuous of us. And, to me, you have to be responsive to the people, because the people are your boss. You're not their boss. And for him now to go around and have all these town halls to explain to us why it's in our best interest, the way he voted, really shows what kind of person he is. And the difference between liberal Democrats like he is and conservatives is that we believe that the people rule, and that the government is subservient to the people, and the government is not the answer to everything.